Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Rebecca and she's selling her Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Rebecca, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing just great. Thank you, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. And I'm looking forward to talking about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. So it's an Amazon FBA business in the home niche created in January 2015. The average monthly revenue for the business is $26,515, and it makes an average of $2,704 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 49241 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. So we have an Amazon Sell Essential account with 3 SKUs, a trademark, a domain including all site content and files, an email list with 2,354 subscribers, a ManyChat account with 2,951 subscribers, 2 Facebook accounts, one with 7,000 followers, the other with 11,000. And it's important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active unlockers. Okay, Rebecca, now let's hear from you. Should we start with your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. That's going to be a short conversation because I didn't have a lot of experience in online businesses before 2015.
Okay, yeah. So what was your experience? How did you start?
Okay, so the short story is that I moved with my husband, and I had had a brick and mortar business before our move. And so when we moved, I needed to reinvent myself, and I had 2 little kids at home. So that's when I landed on some type of webinar and learned about the Amazon opportunity. And I thought that it checked off a lot of boxes for me. And so that's how I got started in the Amazon business.
Okay, and when you had your offline business, were you in retail or something different?
I was in coffee.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I had a chain of coffee shops.
Oh, chain. Oh, well, quite impressive. It wasn't Starbucks, was it?
Unfortunately, no, it wasn't Starbucks.
Yeah, so what was it about the Amazon FBA business model appealed to you most?
Well, I love the flexibility of it, the fact that I could work from home or, be available for my children if they needed me because they were quite small at the time. I also love the creativity of it, of actually creating something of my own, an actual brand, and also, creating products that I would actually use myself.
Okay, that leads me into the next question. Then how come you chose this niche in particular?
Well, because it's what I was familiar with. So my niche is in home organization. And as a mom, I, am always in need of organizational products to keep my home life running smoothly. And so that's what I knew. And so that's why I decided to go into that niche.
Okay, excellent. So this Amazon FBA business, how does it primarily make money?
Well, it makes money from Amazon. The beauty of Amazon is the built-in traffic. So, the products are listed for sale on Amazon and they're shown to Amazon's buyers. And, I think I've done an excellent job with creating listings that really appeal to my target market. And so the conversion rates are high. And so, customers see my products and they buy them. So that's how the business makes money on Amazon.
Excellent. So you say that you've done the listings well. What is it about the listings that you would say is particularly good?
Well, I know one of the skills that I've developed since 2015 is copywriting and understanding what drives a customer to actually click on the listing. So having great images and then actually having a listing that speaks to the emotions of the customer, because people buy in emotions and then back up the emotions with logic. And so I know how to create listings that speak to the benefits of the product that make the customer's life better. So the listings are, like I said, they're written to actually speak to what the customer really needs and clearly communicate with them why these products are going to make their life better.
Quite right. And the product does make their lives better because and you can see that in the reviews that you've got. And do you say it's a high quality product that you've got?
Yes, I would. Yes, I definitely think it's a high quality product. Yep. And even the packaging, I get customers saying, "Oh my gosh, I love your packaging."
Quite right. Yeah, so you've created a popular brand here with your messaging and your branding and the quality of the product as well.
Yeah, it's totally cohesive.
Excellent. So that's for the niche and the business model, and your business seems to be earning pretty steadily. You've got a good brand and everything. So the obvious question now is, how come you're selling the business?
Well, I'm selling because of two factors. Mainly, the biggest factor is my husband's salary was cut in half due to COVID, which I'm sure some people on this podcast can probably relate to that. So the funds that I've had, some of the extra funds or cushion to be able to aggressively market with Amazon PPC, I just didn't feel comfortable doing that with his salary being cut in half. The other reason is because of COVID as well. And my kids are now home full time and are homeschooling. So I need to be able to devote the majority of my time to my children. So my priorities have just shifted.
Quite right. And sorry to hear about your husband's salary, and totally understand the situation that you're in now out. You mentioned Amazon PPC. Have you run campaigns through Amazon before?
Oh, yes. You really need to have Amazon PPC to have a thriving business on Amazon.
Okay. And how long were you running those campaigns for? Sort of what successes did you have with them? Did you have anything that sort of didn't work in that respect?
Well, I've had Amazon PPC since, the products were launched. I've used Amazon PPC to actually launch products, which has been successful. I've had people that are experts in PPC, depending upon what your objective is, whether it's to rank your products. So where I might be willing to have a lower profit margin, a lower, ACOS, or a higher ACOS rather, because I want to rank the products, and then gradually getting those products and campaigns optimized so that I'm now having more of my sales come from organic rather than from advertising. So it's kind of that dance of how you balance that out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Certainly a good strategy. Did you do any other forms of marketing for this business?
Yes, I have, although I did have people help me with that because Facebook is not, really a beast that I understand as far as traffic. That's why I have a ManyChat. So I've used ManyChat on Facebook to launch new products and get people excited, to build up customer lists.
Oh, and that was your main strategy for building up the email list that you have right now as well?
And then I also had inserts in my products. And that's how I kind of built up the majority of the email list, was that my customers would reach out to me because of the inserts that I had in the products. I also had a coupon on the back of my packaging. So people would contact me directly for the coupon code. And that's also how I built up the email list.
Excellent. That's a pretty solid marketing strategy. And you find you get good engagement levels with your Facebook accounts?
Yes, I do have a virtual assistant that does the posting for me, but the engagement is good. There's lots of likes, there's lots of shares. So she definitely has that dialed in with what, the people in those accounts, what they want to see, what they want to engage with for the Facebook accounts.
Excellent. And are there any other employees associated with the business at the moment?
I have a sourcing agent, so I don't employ her full time right now. I have her on a product basis, but I've had her since 2015.
All right. Okay. And you'd be willing to share their contact details with the new buyer as well?
Yes, 100%. So both my virtual assistant who's doing all the social media, and I just want to say to my virtual assistant, she is capable of doing Instagram and Pinterest and other forms of social media. I just never used her for that. I only used her for Facebook. And my sourcing agent, I'll definitely, share her details. She's amazing. She's the reason I spend very little time having to actively kind of manage inventory, things like that. She handles the negotiating with my supplier in China. She handles all the shipping details. She handles the inspections before the product leaves the warehouse. So she's really terrific.
Okay, excellent. So overall with this business, is there anything that you've learned from scaling the business that you would apply to future sites and businesses?
I think the biggest lessons I've learned is, understanding needs of customers and kind of the psychology behind making buying decisions, how to look for products that people need, how to write sales copy that appeals to the emotions of the customer. I think those are the biggest things that I would be taking away with me. Also, advertising, just how important that is, but knowing what the strategy is behind the advertising and not just throwing money at a campaign, but actually knowing what the objectives are in the business behind the advertising strategy.
Quite right, yeah. And you've certainly used some good marketing tactics to scale this business. Was there anything in that regard that didn't work for you?
Off the top of my head, no. I should knock on wood. I actually had a really smooth line to success with Amazon, all things considered. There's nothing within the Amazon business that wasn't successful, honestly. I know that's a funny thing to say, but the business that I have, it's very straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always appealing to a buyer. Seems like you've got campaigns set up and everything. Only requires 2 hours of work per week. You've got a good following on social media. It's looking like a good business. So if you were to keep it on, what would be your next steps for growth?
I would add more products for sure. That's my husband's salary being cut is definitely something that also, hindered me from wanting to expand the product line. So I would definitely add more products. That would be the first thing. I would be more aggressive in my sponsored ad campaigns for sure, 100%. I would probably look into traffic sources off of Amazon and driving traffic to Amazon. So for example, again, going back to Facebook and employing ManyChat, employing retargeting on Facebook, maybe look into Google Ads. Although again, I would need help with those, but those are things that I would look at.
Okay, yeah, sounds about right. I would definitely agree with those sort of strategies. Now, there is a domain included in the sale. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. It's a .com domain. There's a Shopify store associated with it. Does minimal sales. The main reason for the Shopify store was before Amazon had brand registry in place, sometimes you needed to prove to Amazon if you wanted to make a change to your title or, other changes to your listing. Sometimes they wanted to make sure that you were the owner of that product or that domain or that, business. And so you could use a website to say, hey, you can see now that, here's the proof. So that was the main reason for starting the website, but it does make sales. So yes, there's a .com domain and the brand is trademarked and does have brand registry 2.0 with Amazon now.
Okay, excellent. Makes sense. So that's all about the growth of overall business. So back to day, what type of work do you do on this site for maintenance?
Honestly, almost nothing now because the business has been active, for 2015. So I don't know how many years that is now, like 5 years, 6 years. And as you've seen, it has a lot of reviews. So very little. I mean, I might, around this time of year, I might change some images to reflect the holidays. I might go in and just spend a little time adding some holiday related keywords in either my back end or into my listing. I always check to make sure just if there's any, customer questions that I need to answer, but there's very few these days. And then, I'm checking on the inventory, making sure that I'm, stocked for the holidays, and then anticipating, what the goals are for next year and, factoring in Chinese New Year, which usually comes in February when the factories are closed. So there's very little engagement because, I have my sourcing agent. She helps me to keep an eye on the inventory as well. And I have my virtual assistant who's handling the social media. So there's very little time that I need to be involved with the business on day to day.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. So for someone coming in to purchase this business, what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with this niche or business model?
Well, if they're not familiar with the Amazon FBA, there's probably plenty of YouTube videos. I would recommend probably taking a course or something, just something simple, and just Amazon FBA. So you just have an idea of business models, just particularly with sponsored ads, because that's such an important component of an Amazon business. So if you're going to be doing it yourself, then I recommend getting some education. If you're going to be outsourcing, then I definitely would have some recommendations of people that I have worked with who are fantastic at running sponsored ad campaigns. As far as the niche goes, if you're going to, I think you should have somewhat understanding, just like I said, because of the psychology of the buyer and the customers. But again, I don't think it's difficult to get to know the customer in the space and understand what their needs are. It's very straightforward in this home organization space. So I think, if you're going to run it yourself, then there should be a little bit of education, understand how Seller Central works, understand just Amazon and sponsored ads. And if you're going to be outsourcing, it's a super easy business model to outsource.
Okay, yeah, that's some pretty solid advice. So putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I think there's room for growth. I think if you have the finances to put into the sponsored ads, if you have the expertise to drive traffic from Facebook, ManyChat, even Google, I definitely think there's room for this brand for growth. I think the customer assets, both the ManyChat list and the email list, are valuable. It's a solid, really well-liked brand. It's cohesive. It's a great-looking brand. The listings are well optimized. The sales account, the selling account on Amazon is, has a lot of history. So it's a seasoned account on Amazon. It has brand registry 2.0. It's a trademark brand. So I think that it's a solid brand and would be very easy to add some complementary products and grow this brand out. Also, the brand is only in the United States at this time, so there's room for, expanding the brand into Canada, into the EU, into Australia. And because I've been selling on Amazon since 2015, I often get sent offers from Seller Central to be a beta tester before they make invitations to, general sellers, asking if I'd like to expand the brand into, India and other countries.
Right, yeah, I would agree with all of that 100%. Some great insights. So regarding the sale of the business, would you commit to a non-compete?
Oh, for sure.
And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Yes. I'm open to discussing, but as I said, this is such a pretty simple, straightforward business with 3 SKUs. It's not complicated, but for sure I would be open to what's reasonable and what's going to make, what's a win-win for both of us. I want the new seller to be successful and to feel comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're all here for. That's what we all want. So yeah, is there anything else you would like to share that I might have missed?
I don't think so. It's a great business opportunity, and Amazon FBA is terrific. Like I said, I just have different priorities now in my life.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And I'm sure you would keep it on if priorities hadn't changed. So, but anyway, thank you very much for your time, Rebecca. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you so much, Craig. I appreciate it too.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 49241. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.